Okay. Hi, I believe I'm live. I just wanted to make sure that everyone can hear me and see me and that we're all a-okay. So if you're on the chat, there are a whole lot of you on the chat. Hi, if you could just tell me that you're seeing and hearing me, that would just be terrific. Everyone's saying that sounds good. Hi, everyone. Oh my God. Like, the last time I went live, I was with my mom, who you recall is a international bestselling author. And the last time we only had like 10 people show up. So like, I was not expecting this, but I'm really happy we're all here. Awesome. If you hear weird noises, the air conditioner is right there. Normally I would turn it off and open up all the windows, but it's 90 fucking degrees here in Minnesota. So we ain't doing that. So we're just gonna have to deal with the headphones and the growling air AC. No weird noises. Oh, beautiful. I love my headphones. Excellent. Okay, so I have a couple of things planned for today. We are going to do a little bit of a Citadel reading. I've got a couple of things tagged. You guys get to choose which point I'm reading from. And then we will do a giveaway every 15 minutes. And then I will, of course, do questions and answers. But I did want to ask real quick, how many of you guys follow me over on TikTok for a cafe latte? I'm going to assume it's a lot of you. I wanted to show you something that I got that's going to make a little appearance in future episodes. I'm going to film a couple of TikToks right after this. And then like there's going to be a little bit of a break. So I'm helping my brother move out of Milwaukee, and then we're going to film again. It's going to be like a big one because we're at 100 episodes now at this point. Holy shit. And I got a new sword because they're going to be fighting a new foe, which requires rainbow steel. Look at how pretty that is. And by the way, I did not know that this was a real sword when I ordered it off of Amazon. This is fine, but this is actually kind of sharp. So, oops. And in addition to that, that's for Bob, obviously, but you'll recall that Cyrus is more of a knife guy. And they're teeny little, I don't think that they're so tiny and they're so deadly wicked sharp. So we're just going to put those back and stash it in my corner with my other sword. And that's going to make an appearance on my TikTok sometime next week. So you heard it here first. Rainbow steel is going to be a thing because it's used against unicorns. And unicorns in my world are vicious, flesh-eating creatures who are like immune to bullets. So like you got to be careful with it. So Citadel, it comes out today. First full-length novel, first hardcover. Oh, hi, Artemis. I see you. You see that I'm not paying any attention to you, so you must come and be a nuisance. This isn't even really my cat. It's one of my roommate's cats. Like, I'm a dog person. But apparently no. She always chooses to make me her throne. So yes, hi. We have 3 different options for what part of Citadel I can read to you. Go away. The first is the first time that Olivia meets a demon, aka a chimera. The second option is the second time she meets a demon and a member of her human squad is killed by them. And the third option is when she makes a deal with a demon slash chimera. So, which one do you guys want me to read from? The first time she meets a demon, the first time she sees someone killed by a demon, or when she makes her first deal with the demon? I'm getting quite a bit of. I'm seeing mostly option 1. Yeah, okay. So we'll do option 1, where she first meets a demon, and then later, if there's time and people want me to read a little bit more, then we'll go with when she makes a deal. Sounds fair? Oh, this reminds me, I gotta put these back in my store. Apparently, Printful made a mistake with the water bottles, and I had to take them out, but they fixed it, so now I have to put it back. Okay, so we're starting at page 66, which, hey, the cat is playing with the computer cords. I told you not to do that. So this is why I prefer dogs. You tell them not to do it once, and then they just never do it again. Anyway, so we're starting at page 60. What you need to know is that Olivia, is in the middle of the flooded forest. She's going out there with a few other people, her dad, Ormus, her quote-unquote uncle, Peterson, her boss, Franklin, and the twins, Michael and Gabriel, for protection. And my favorite dog being probably a shepherd mix. And they're going to, they're searching for a flower, a brand new type of flower that they think has some medicinal qualities, so they're going to go study it. All right. Olivia had read nearly every public account about the forest in detail, written by soldiers, scientists, and even the founders. They always said the same thing. The forest was a dark, eerie, evil place. The founders called its very coloring unnatural. Demon howls were heard every night and sometimes during the day. Ouch! You're breaking the mood. Ah, I swear I'm going to put you in the kennel. When the demons went quiet, the only sounds were the buzz of insects, the call of birds, and the occasional splash of water from a fish. Even Elias had shied away from it, preferring to keep within Citadel's walls. Olivia loved it. The air was crisp and clean, free from the stench of human waste and desperation. All the people in Citadel rubbed her ears raw. The tight spaces, the rules, the rigid lines in which she never fit. What you Out here, there were no rules. You lived or you died depending on your wit and preparedness. No niceties, no manners, just the raw honesty of the way things were. The first day was spent mostly in silence, even though demons never flew this close to Citadel, so for now it was safe. Olivia spent most of her time sketching the people in the boats, the trees, the fish swimming around the massive trees beneath them. It's high tide, so the forest is flooded. The tree trunks were the only obstacles they had to maneuver around. All the branches were high enough to avoid the tides, and they were so thick and intertwined with each other that the boats were perpetually in shade. The sunlight that the branches missed were filtered by the orange and yellow leaves. Stop biting my headphones. Turning the water gold. Nugzuki, four-winged, two-tailed mammals of the sky, flew in and out of the leaves, hunting small fish and other birds. One lucky bird caught a large amphibious snail, its shell designed to look like the blue wood or seeds the trees have lived on. The trees reproduced through big shelled seeds that they dropped when ripe in the hopes that the tide would sweep them away somewhere else, where they would take root and grow. She sketched as they rode, trying to capture the beauty around them on her paper. Gabriel, one of the soldiers, peeked over her shoulder and snorted. I've seen more talent in toddlers, freak, he muttered. She positioned herself so he couldn't see her work and kept going. She doesn't get along with Gabriel. That was the first day, with the night spent sleeping on the boats tied to a branch, the gentle rocking from the small waves lulling them to sleep, except for whoever was on guard duty. Peterson, Michael, and Gabriel all took turns. Ormus, her father, was the only one with a revolver, while the rest had bows and arrows. Stop trying to catch the cords. No. No, Gabriel is not a nice soldier. Okay. Are you going to, behave now, please? That was the first day, with the night spent sleeping on the boats tied to a branch, the gentle rocking from the small waves lulling them to sleep, except for whoever was on guard duty. Peterson, Michael, and Gabriel all took turns. Ormus was the only one with a revolver, while the rest had bows and arrows. The metals needed for bullets were hard to come by, and guns were difficult to make and repair, so they were reserved for officers. Bows and arrows, on the other hand, were made from wood and plant fibers. while arrowheads could be carved from anything, stone, bone, scrap metal, etc. Olivia fell asleep to the sound of a distant demon howling. You're just really trying to make this as difficult as possible, huh? There. The next day, they slowly rode deeper into the forest, choosing stealth over speed. What are we looking for? Peterson asked from the other boat. It's a greenish-white flower with a blue vine, Franklin said. We think it grows above the tide, too delicate to withstand that much water. If it's above the tidal line, how does it get any water at all? Olivia thought, putting her silver braid into a bun. What about sunlight? She wrote in her sketchbook, "Get higher," and showed it to Franklin. "We're as high as we need to be," he said. "Not enough sun," she's writing. "Which one of us is in charge of this expedition?" Franklin snapped. She pointed to Ormus. The vein at Franklin's temple threatened to burst. "The higher we go, the more we risk being spotted by demons," Ormus said, "and I don't want to leave the boats. Stay low, for now." "I think I see something," Michael called, pointing. There was a thin blue vine, almost completely invisible against the blue of the tree trunk, winding its way upward. Peterson maneuvered their boat closer so Franklin could gently pry the vine free. When he managed to free a leaf, he shook his head. "Close, but no, just a weed." "Seems to me Olivia had a good idea about sending someone up top," Peterson said. "It's too dangerous. We don't need to send anyone up." "Olivia!" Olivia had taken the time they were bickering to make sure her pack was strapped securely to her back. Then she jumped off the boat. "Not again," Peterson groaned. She grabbed a branch and swung onto the tree, using the other branches as hand and footholds to scramble up the top before anyone could even think of coming after her. Within seconds, she was at the very top of the tree, poking her head out of the yellow and orange leaves. She caught her breath, wishing she had brought paints to capture the scene. From this angle, the land spread out beneath her, and the leaves' colors made it look like it was all ablaze. She saw a bit of green and climbed down. When the others saw her, she held up 10 fingers and pointed southeast. 10 meters? Peterson confirmed. She nodded. "Get back in the boat," Ormus ordered. She ignored him and went ahead to where she'd spotted the green plant. Going from treetop to treetop, alternating between swinging, jumping, and just plain walking, was quickly becoming Olivia's favorite way to travel. The bark scratched at her palms, and she made a mental note to wear gloves next time. It was a good thing she wore long sleeves and pants, because the few times the leaves brushed against her bare skin made her shudder. Yes, gloves were definitely in order next time. Something moved in the water. She stopped to get a better look. It was an agensis, a large aquatic mammal that they were fairly sure was an herbivore, maybe an omnivore. Its body was almost as thick as the trees, in other words, as wide as a house, and 5 times as long. It drifted through the forest, sniffing at roots so deep in the water its snout disappeared from Olivia's sight. Ow! That was a bite. They only came into the flooded forest in spring and summer, looking for a good place to bury and lay eggs before returning to the ocean, which is fresh water, by the way. When they were caught, they could be completely harvested. Blubber made into food or candles, bones into tools or weapons. The eggs were delicious, too. They provided so much for Citadel that the faith even considered them a holy animal. Too bad their 2 little boats weren't equipped to kill and drag this one back. She hopped onto the next branch and continued onward. She made it to the green spot before the others did and was able to confirm that this was indeed the plant they were looking for. She put her fingers in her mouth and gave one short whistle, one long one, and then another short one. It was a military signal. "I'm here, I'm fine." After a beat, she heard Peterson respond with 2 long whistles. "On my way, reinforcements coming." I can do a little bit of whistle, but I can't do that. She took out a short knife and harvested the flowers, using one of the vines to tie them all together in a bouquet. The petals were green at the edges, fading to white in the center, which made them seem delicate amid the dark blues and overpowering oranges of the rest of the forest. By the time the others arrived, she'd spotted another green patch to the east. She told them as such through hand gestures and dropped the bouquet onto the boat, then ran off again. It was only a couple more of the flowers, and only one of them was mature enough to take. She decided she'd try to find its source, where it did it lay its roots anyway. She decided she'd try to find its source. Where did it lay its roots anyway? Within the tree or all the way down on the ground? She followed the vine down the tree, taking the flower itself and wrapping the vine around her hand as she went. It stopped at one of the branches, twining itself around the bark before stopping at a hard bulge embedded into the wood. Was that the original seed? How did it get up so high? She was so absorbed in her study that she didn't notice the movement to her right, not until she heard the growl. She lifted her head and came face to face with a demon. So that's the end of that chapter. I will read the next one so you can actually see how she and the demon interact. But first, it's been 15 minutes, so it's time for a giveaway. Now, I'm sure there's like a better, more tech-savvy way to do this, but I'm not about that. So here's what we are going to do. I have a dice roller up on my computer screen. We're going to let the gods decide here. There are a lot of you, like way more than I thought there'd be, which is great. I thought I'd be lucky if I got like 10. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have 2 D20s up on this thing. So there seems to be about 40 of you. What you're going to do is you're going to all choose a number between 2 and 40. I'm going to roll the dice, and whoever has the closest number to what we actually get is who's going to win a free signed copy of the book. So you're all going to put in a number between 2 and 40 if you want a book. And then when I say stop or I'm rolling, we're going to stop. All right. I'm going to give it another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. We are rolling. Roll. It's a good thing I'm not playing D&D. The total is 5. So possibly might be a siren. Oh, we got a possible tie. Oh, no. Millennial Guess and Anthony Tomes are tied now. So is Maddie D. No one rolled a 5. Okay, those 3 that I just named, come up with 2. Come up with another number between 2 and 40. So we'll tie break that between those 3 that I just named off. The ones that had a 4 or a 6, basically. Oh, we got. A 23, a 10, and a 35. Okay, rolling. Millennial Guess, you got closest at 13. It was an 18. So I'm going to pin you. So you are going to email me. 135 people in the chat. Holy shit. At writeme.com. Yeah, I'm not live on TikTok. Winner's going to email me that. You're going to tell me what you want the book written out to, and then what the mailing address is. And that's going to be how I'm going to send the book to you. Do it through email because that's the best way that I'm going to be able to get that information and do that. Hi, Artemis. Again. Jesus. Yeah, you sensed I was about to write again. You read again, didn't you? Okay. We shall resume. Don't worry, guys. We'll roll again in another 15 minutes. Maybe we can make a form. There's got to be like a raffle copter thing or whatever that I can do, that I can set up. There's got to be something like way more. You know, if I gave this more thought and didn't think that I would be like, I did not think there would be over 100 people doing it. So, ooh, a live giveaway. Run your own giveaway. Not for free. Hi, Artemis. You're on. Here. Let's give them something like interesting to look at. Hi. There are YouTube raffle picking options. Tell me more, Andrew. Okay. Welcome, raffle culture. Chris, I am not a robot. How many times does open sesame? Hi. You're causing so many problems, but you know, you're cute, so I guess you could stay. Just gonna, okay, thank you. And I'm done this. Had a prize. Free book. Save this prize. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Okay. It's just gonna be okay. And away she goes. Whatever. Yeah, we'll just figure out how to do a different rap thing for that. We'll see how many more people join us in about 10-15 minutes. So it's called Comment Picker. Toggle moderation. Pop out chat. Yeah. Okay. It's a website. Comment Picker. YouTube. Hello. YouTube random comment picker. Random winner generated for YouTube giveaway, promotion, sweepstake, or contest. But do I have to like the YouTube video link? We might be able to do this. It doesn't work with live streams. Let's find out. YouTube giveaway. Member winners, show random names. Sorry, the capture answer again is wrong. Oh, we got Brazil and England. I know I got a couple people from Germany too. It's weird being international, just having random people from all over the world see you and meet you. I want to try something. And if you're just showing up on the live stream, hi, I apologize. You get to watch me flounder with technology for a hot minute. Oh, that's what I got. This video is comments disabled. I do not have comments disabled. You guys are live. What? I feel like I was supposed to do this at the start. Okay, whatever. We'll figure it out. Anyway, so chapter 6. Most demons that were brought to Citadel were already dead, shot down by soldiers or even the odd hunter. The bodies were displayed in front of the main temple until the rot became so bad they had to be taken down and burned. Sometimes the priesthood claimed them, doing whatever studies they deemed necessary in the vaults. Rarely did the soldiers bring back a demon alive, simply because they were so dangerous the soldiers were forced to kill them to protect themselves. Usually those live demons were injured and always tangled up in nets. In those cases, the demon was killed slowly in front of the people of Citadel. Wings and ears cut off, hot coals put in its mouth and belly, and its body hung from a rope until dead. Olivia had seen over a dozen demon corpses and one demon tortured, meeting one now in the wild without any bars, nets, or chains between them almost caused Olivia to jump in the water. This one was small for a demon, but no less deadly. Its jaws could snap Olivia's arm like a twig if it was so inclined. Its body was the mythological wolf's and could grow taller than a man, but its rear legs were talons, perfect for gripping branches. Its tail was serpentine and feathered, kind of like the cat's, designed for balancing in the air and on precarious treetops. The feathered wings were carefully folded against its back, but when they were spread, they would be massive. This particular demon was cream-colored, with brown markings across its fur, not unlike freckles that matched its brown wings. Olivia would find it cute if it weren't for the iron grip around her lungs. For an endless moment, they stared at each other. Olivia had used her left hand to gather the vine, which meant her right hand was free to get her knife. But if she reached for it, she was certain the demon would charge. This close, it would be on her long before she could do any damage. Its golden eyes went from her to the flower in her hand. Then it dove, spreading its wings just before it hit the water and flying around one of the trees before disappearing within the orange leaves. Olivia's hand went to her knife, but it was gone before she could draw. When she counted to 10 and it still hadn't come back, she released a gust of air and slumped against the tree trunk. Her hands trembled, her heart pounded, but most of all, her mind reeled. Why didn't it attack me? Demons go for the kill at every opportunity, so why didn't this one? Before she could ponder that further, the demon came back. This time she had her hand on her knife before it even landed, but she stopped when she saw what it carried in its jaws. Flowers. Green flowers. Green Prassina flowers, just like the one in her hand. Olivia could have swallowed 100 bugs with how far her jaw dropped. It's been watching me collect flowers. It's been watching me collect flowers and did not attack. It's been watching me collect these specific flowers and deduced that I needed them. It then decided to get me some. It remembered exactly where to find those exact same flowers. It's sentient. Fuck. Because until this point, they all thought that they were just animals, basically. A gentle wolf brought her back to reality. Olivia blinked, closed her mouth, and inched closer to the demon. Peace offering or not, she was still cautious around the thing that could devour her in seconds. She was now close enough as she could count each and every one of its freckles. She could also see that this was a male, and as it was only as tall as her chest, was probably an adolescent. Good to know she wasn't the only young idiot in this tree. She carefully wrapped her fingers around the vines, about half a dozen in all. The demon's fur brushed against the underside of her hand, the softest thing she had ever felt. As soon as she had a firm grip on the plants, the demon let go, licking his chops as she pulled back. Now that she had her presence, it seemed neither of them knew what to do. There were probably some rules for what should happen when you receive a peace offering from your species' mortal enemy, but even if Olivia had been normal, she probably wouldn't know what they are. A little bit of an internalized ableism there. The demon slowly took one of the flowers in its mouth and ate it. She frowned, studying the plants. These weren't poisonous to humans, and in fact, the whole reason Franklin wanted them was because they could have medicinal qualities, capable of knocking out a fully grown man for a few hours. Why eat one now? Sharp whistling made her jump. One short, one long, one short, one long. Where are you? Olivia whistled back, then made a shooing motion to the demon. He didn't need to be told twice. He jumped off the branch and flew away, disappearing into the forest. So the next one is like a page from her sketchbook she's been writing to her dead boyfriend for the last year as a way to deal with her grief. Dear Elias, they're sentient. It's been a day and I still can't believe it. The demons are sentient, or at the very least capable of recognizing human pattern behavior and anticipating it, of giving gifts, of trying to communicate, though I'm not entirely sure of what besides that Prassina flowers can be eaten. I'm an idiot. I know what it's like having a mind but being unable to speak, being judged as dumb or inferior because I can't make words come out of my mouth. The fact that I've been doing the same to demons makes me want to puke. And yet, I am so angry. Animals cannot be held accountable for their actions. They're animals, beasts who don't know any better. But if this freckled demon is any indication, then the demons are not animals, not completely. There is at least some level of sentience to them, if not morality, for why else would they spare me when they had every chance of killing me? Thus, they choose to kill humans when they stray too far from Citadel. They chose to kill you. That. Okay, so it's coming up on a should have ate the flower, should have been knocked unconscious. This wholesome moment turns dark. Yeah, welcome to my writing. So it's getting time for another giveaway. I'm wondering if anyone has a better way of how to do this besides me rolling dice and hoping someone gets like the answer right. Just choose me. Wheel this up. How does one do a wheel? I would have to type in over 100 names though, and I don't think you guys want to watch me. Andrew Bolt, you got the website to work. How did you do that? Rock, paper, scissors. That would be an epic battle. The website just ran in. Let me click participants. Hello. Okay, you know what? I've got a list of the participants all up and running. So here's what we're going to do. I got my hand in front of it. I'm not looking at it, and I'm just going to randomly hit my mouse over someone, and that's going to be our winner. Okay? Okay. That's how we're going to do it. This one. Pixie. Someone whose username is Pixie. You. Ah! Hey, stop typing. Where are you, Pixie? I saw you, and I clicked you, and now you're gone. Where'd you go? You. So Ms. or Mr. or human Pixie, you are going to email me at Christina_Marie@writemeat.com. And you're going to tell me what name you want me to, like, because I'm going to sign the book, and tell me if there's a specific name you want me to sign it out to. And then also email me what your mailing address is, so that way I can do that. That's going to be the best way for me to get the information that I need and send it out to you as soon as possible. Don't worry, Willow. Don't be sad. There's going to be plenty of other options to help. I think we got it, Andrew. Thank you so much, though. Next time we'll figure this out and be more tech savvy about everything. So that is the reading portion of Citadel. I thought that now is a good time to open it up to a potential Q&A. So if anyone has any questions about Citadel, about the writing process, about Cafe Latte, about Blackwing, about the mysteries of the universe, or whatever, let me know in the comments what your questions may be, and I will do my darndest to answer them. What inspired me to start writing? Well, Maddie, like, it's something that I've always done. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I can't say what was the first time I started writing and what inspired me to do it. Like, I've just always done it. It's always been there. I've always put pen to paper. It's just always been a part of me. You could argue it's in my blood because both my parents are also writers and we're also all geeks. So I grew up reading, and like that, those two tend to fuel each other quite a bit. So yeah, fun story. Fun fact about me and also Citadel specifically. The first ever manuscript I ever wrote, 300 pages of piping hot garbage. I wrote it when I was 12, and I made my poor father read it. And it was basically an Avatar: The Last Airbender and Warriors, that cat series, huge ripoff of both of those. You know, you got the Four Nations, and they were all animals at the time. And it was like a post-apocalypse on Earth, not an alien planet. And you had like the wolves, of course, because wolves are great. You had like tigers. There was an eagle clan, and then there was like the ocean tribe, water tribe. Yeah, and they were all at war with each other, and there was like special people from each person, like, you know, a chosen one from each clan who all had different powers, and they were all supposed to bring peace to their clans. They made my dad read the whole thing, and he did. He read every single page, and he gave me some really good constructive criticism. And Olivia was a character in that story. She was the only human character, and she was like their guide. She gave them directions at some point. And I did that when I was 12. And then I revised, rewrote, changed up genres, changed up characters, moved characters around. And 14 years later, we have Citadel. So yeah, I guess you could say that inspired me to write. Oh my god! Are there any? How old is the main character? Olivia is 19. How did you come across the decision to make the main character of Citadel autistic? Uh, well, it was during another. I'm gonna revise this again. It's gonna be on an alien planet, so I was already changing a lot of things. Olivia had long become a fixture of the story. She was already the main character in several different variants of her, but I already had a pretty good understanding of who she was as a person. At the time I was doing that rewrite, I was working for an organization called Dungarvan for my day job. They help people, adults with physical and or mental disabilities, uh, hit their goals in the world, usually career oriented. And a lot of my clients, in addition to everything else, also had some version of autism. And I also had a couple of cousins who are autistic. One of my ex-boyfriends was autistic. Um, so I was already kind of familiar with it and what it was and how it made people think and work. Um, at the time, I had just finished reading Rick Riordan's Magnus Chase trilogy, which is incredible, and you should read it if you haven't already. So I thought it would be kind of fun to. One of the main characters there is Death. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. Well, a lot of the story is based about communication and dialogue. So let's make it harder for Olivia and make her like physically mute in some ways to really hammer that point home. And then immediately my brain went, no, nonverbal autistic. Um, because that's going to make her even more separate from Citadel than she already was. It was going to present its own unique form of challenges. And the more I researched autism and the community, and the more I talked to autistic people, the more I was like, yeah, we made the right choice here. It's not going to change her. It doesn't change her character all that much, if at all. It just, I think in many ways it kind of enhanced her, some of her best qualities, her search for truth, her bluntness, her honesty, her determination. We're all sharpened with that little diagnosis. That was fun. That was fun. Why are the trees blue? It's an alien planet. There was this whole thing. I was doing some research with like different stars and like distance from planets and how that could affect how plant life works. And if you get like a star that's a little bit colder than ours and bring the planet a bit closer, keeping it in its Goldilocks zone, it's going to affect the way that the plant life evolves to collect with the photosynthesis. So and just little changes like that, and it can have just such a huge impact on how the world works. I forget the exact details because I was never much of a scientist, but I remembered that much. So I thought we're gonna make when she does talk about every now and then someone describes the sun, and it's always very pale because it's a paler star, a colder star. So, and that's why the trees are blue and why the leaves are mostly like orange and yellow. Is Cyrus from Cafe Latte eventually going to learn magic? I don't think so. We already have Nicole learning magic. And now and Bob is of course a master of magic, at least war magic. Um, so having Cyrus also do that would just be like hat on top of a hat almost. I kind of like keeping him. I don't think his interest is in that. He's a lot more physical. He's athletic. He's also a huge geek and nerd, but in terms of like storytelling and stuff like that, I am playing with the idea of him having a book talk or a bookstagram. So you guys might see some of that going on. It's really just kind of where does this character's interest lie? What does he want to be versus what does he need to do? And I don't think Cyrus is really all that interested in that type of magic. So probably not, but Nicole is also learning magic, so we are still seeing that. How do you come up with each of the characters? So characters are like kind of one of the first things that I come up with whenever I come up with a new concept, be it Citadel, be it Cafe Latte, Blackwing. I tend to write very character-driven stories. So the characters, especially the protagonists, tend to be kind of one of the first things that I just come up with, and a lot of it has to do with just like what sounds interesting to me at the time, versus like, okay, what sets this character apart? What makes this character? I'm trying to think of how to describe this. Kind of like I tend to think of characters and world almost at the same time. So a lot of times it's what makes this character difficult? What makes this character's life different from everyone else? Why are they having, because they usually have a difficult time navigating their world for whatever reason. I like talking about outcasts and outsiders and all that jazz. So like, why are they like a paragon of this world, or are they an outsider of it? And that's kind of how that works for Olivia. Obviously she's an outsider. She kind of got molded over 14 years worth of rewrites and revisions. So I already knew very clearly how she was, but and I kind of created Citadel almost around her um, from that. But in terms of like Blackwing, with my novella series, which stars Janua and Antiku, Janua is almost a paragon of that world. She is a paladin. She was explicitly chosen by the king of the gods because he liked the cut of her jib. Basically, she is dedicated. She's a soldier. She's intelligent. She does what she's told. She's honorable to a fault. So that makes her almost ideal for this type of world. She's a dedicated follower of the most popular god, and now she has his blessing and powers. Antiku, on the other hand, is a necromancer, part of an organization that not necessarily, they don't shun the gods, so to speak, but they don't they're like, oh, the gods want us to do this, we'll take it under advisement. Like they're a lot more casual about that, and the gods don't like that because they want total obedience. So, Antiku, outsider, Janua, insider, forced to work together to save the world. That came from Diablo 2 because there is a paladin and a necromancer that you can play in that game, and the paladin is a goody two shoes. It's like, oh, I get my powers from God. It's so great. And then the necromancer is, of course, this edgy angst lord. I was like, wouldn't it be hilarious if those two were forced to work together to save the world from Diablo? What does Olivia look like? So Olivia, standard in Citadel, because it's just one human city on an alien planet. Race isn't really a thing, but we would think that she is black or mixed or something like that. She's tall. She's not categorized as beautiful. She's like sharp edges. She's got a very angular face. She has long hair, and I did a little bit of a mistake before I realized it was a mistake, where her hair, instead of being typical, it's silver. Another mark against her. I don't know why. She's always had silver hair. I just love how it looks. It's so pretty. Um, and she's very proud of it. And the thing with Citadel is they always tell women, cover your hair, because they're very religious and dogmatic, and almost every single religion has at some point or another ordered women to cover their crown and glory, their hair. And Olivia is an atheist and also has issues with authority, so she says no, fuck that. So she just lets it grow long or pull back in a ponytail. She's tall. She works out a lot. Peterson has taught her how to fight, so she's got muscles and she knows how to use them. How old is JC and Nicole in your Cafe Latte series? They're in like their early to mid 20s. Nicole is a part-time teacher at an art school, and JC, so that requires a degree and some experience on the job. So she's in her mid approaching late 20s, so about my age really. And JC about the same. Is there going to be a physical copy for the Blackwing series? Yes. Book 5 is going to be out in digital format next month. I actually just got some beta reader feedback. So we're going to be doing the final polish on that, and then we'll be promoting that on TikTok. And then once book 5 is out, I'm going to gather all 5 of them together into a physical copy and sell it in physical format. We're also going to be doing audiobook versions for each of the books. How did you come up with Blackwing for the name of the series? technically a spoiler, so I can't really go into it, but I'm just going to say that it has to do with Kwane, one of the war gods, whose symbol is who's called the crow feeder, and his symbol is a crow, and they have black wings, and that's going to come into play um, later. How do you write so good representation of marginalized communities that I am not a part of? Excellent question, Maria. Um, Research. Google is your friend. Um, a lot of it is a little bit of empathy because I am a part of some marginalized groups. I'm a woman, I'm a Buddhist, and I'm queer, aromantic, asexual. So there is a little bit of empathy going on there. But in terms of that's only going to take you so far. You need to know specifics. You need to know what stereotypes to avoid. If you're going to write, say, people of color, autistic people, or people with autism, people prefer it either way. Um, Disabled people, other types of queer people, etc. So you do what I did was, especially with Olivia and autism, I specifically looked at the medical side of what is autism. Just getting the bare bones basic. What is it? How is it categorized? What are some common symptoms and characteristics of it? Uh, so that was step one. But I needed to go a lot deeper and to find out, okay, what is it actually like? Like, what are the difficulties of living your day-to-day life? What are some things that make your day-to-day life easier? What are, what does a meltdown feel like? Like, what is that experience? How do you talk to other autistic or neurotypical people versus how do you talk to allistic people, and how do you get along with them? Do you get along with them? How do they typically react? What makes life difficult? What makes it easy? The stuff like that. I needed to know the actual nitty gritty, what life is like. And also the typical fictional stereotypes to avoid. So, Googling autistic stereotypes or autism in literature, autism in media. That's going to give you a whole bunch of articles as to how people portray it and how that's often a mistake, or how it, people don't like it, people do like it. Um, and that's a very nice, here's what not to do guide. I then went to places like Reddit and Tumblr and Quora, asking questions that I had just talked about there about what a meltdown is like, and day-to-day lives, stuff like that. I also went to Facebook groups. There are a bunch of groups for marginalized people that are often very open and welcoming to allies. So you check the about us section or the rules section to say, yes, allies are welcome here. Great, join the group. That now becomes part of my background scrolling, so I'm already kind of learning a little bit there anyway. And then I can go into that group and straight up ask, hi, I'm an author, I'm not autistic, but I want to write an autistic character. What are some things you're really sick and tired of seeing in media with autistic characters, and what do you want to see? A lot of times the answer was almost universally, I just want them to be an actual person, not a stereotype. And I feel ya. I also recruited a lot of those people to be beta readers or sensitivity readers. When you write a book and you show that book to other people before it's published and you collect their feedback, that's called they are a beta reader, and they're a very valuable point of the writing process. We love our beta readers. Sensitivity readers are those who are specifically um, I'm not autistic. I asked my autistic cousin who's a huge geek and Lord of the Rings nerd. He's great. I love him. I asked him to read Citadel and tell me, how'd I do with the autism thing. And that is that's called a sensitivity reader, someone who specializes in something like that. Get as many of those as you can. I did 3 waves with each, one wave per revision, and that came up to something like 20 to 30 sensitivity readers, beta readers with that. And the first wave, the first iteration, there were some inconsistencies, and just a couple of small details, which right there I'm like, oh hell yeah, I did my research, I did the thing, this is great. And then the second wave, they were mostly I asked them okay, how do I do? Okay, well, you really need more descriptions. I have no idea what the world looks like or what anyone looks like. Okay, that's great, I will note that, but how did I do with Olivia specifically, please? Oh, she's fine, but please God, the world descriptions, the setting, I don't know where anything is. So that was a good day. That was that was really good. So I was like, okay, I did this really, really well, but I also did that really, really poorly. So yeah, are there any other disabilities I will be adding with the sequel? Quite possibly, I'm likely to add other autistic characters that are just like different flavors of autism than Olivia. I might have cognitive disorder somewhere in there. Maybe there's definitely going to be a chimera who is physically disabled. He like lost a wing at some point, and that's a disability for them. Ah, all right. We're past 15 minutes, so it's time for another giveaway. I'm going to go to participants. We are going to see who we are going to get, which is like 124 of you. And the winner is, I clicked calendar. Oops. No, go away. Winner is you. Danica Lilith White. I think I pronounced that right. You. So, Danica, you are going to email me at Christina_Marie@writeme.com. You're going to tell me what name you want me to sign the book out to. I'm going to like actually sign this for you so you can look at it and be pretty with that. And then you're going to tell me the mailing address as detailed as possible, especially if you're doing international. Excuse me. So that's our next winner. We are going, so I can do a Q&A or I can read another section of Citadel. I know there's a lot of questions that I have not gotten to yet. So you guys let me know. Do you want me to answer more questions or do you want me to read a little bit more of Citadel? Are your books on Kindle Unlimited? I don't know if they're on Unlimited yet. I think they are on Kindle, but not Unlimited. Read. Deal, read, Q&A, read. Okay, I'm hearing that you guys want me to read a little bit more, so I will read. They're not on KU. Sorry, not on Kindle Unlimited yet. Okay. So we're gonna start with chapter 16. Olivia has left Citadel. She snuck out. She's in the middle of the flooded forest. She is on her own. She's trying to find preferably Freckles, who's the demon that she met earlier, and basically just ask them like, "You guys are sentient. Why the fuck have you been fighting us for 400 years? Please and thank you." After setting up her tent high in the branches and catching two small Rosina, red fish with tentacles in their mouths for catching prey in the trees, Olivia tried to sketch. She'd found and plucked a new type of flower, but every time she tried to capture its thorny pink petals, it turned into Riley reading, or Elias laughing, or Uncle Peterson sharpening his arrows, or Evelyn modeling a new scarf. She leaned against the tree with a sigh, watching the Rosina cook over the open fire. Starting a fire in a tree was risky and a bit difficult, but doable. The trick was preparation. Olivia had filled one of her bags with dirt during low tide last week and used it to cover part of the branch after dousing the wood with water. Then she made the fire on the dirt and kept it small to limit the amount of sparks that could land on the wood. She'd carefully chosen her fuel so it wouldn't cause as much smoke. The demons might see it, but since she was actively trying to find them, she considered that a bonus. It was much preferable to have a fire on the ground, but that wasn't an option right now. The water was at its highest tide again, meaning it had been 2 weeks, 12 days, they have 6-day weeks, since she had left Citadel. She was almost completely out of the food she'd brought, having to rely more and more on what she caught and found. And while she was good enough at hunting and fishing, thanks again to Peterson's training, more than once she'd gone to bed with an empty stomach. But more than that, she missed home. Not Citadel, but her friends. It was like the ache she had for Elias and Sarah, but her mother is Sarah, but for people who were still alive. Riley, Peterson, Evelyn, Asaya, God's faces, she was even starting to miss Ormus. She wasn't used to being alone for so long, and she found herself longing for the days when she would spar with Peterson or walk with Riley or even sit in the Claude's living room, listening to the others talk as she sketched or studied. It was so tempting to turn around and go back home, declare the experiment a failure, try again later, but she couldn't do that. It had taken her months to be able to look at her old sketches of Elias without crying. Even after all this time, every time she thought of him, she felt like she was breathing through a hurricane of glass. She couldn't go back to Citadel without knowing why. She turned to sizzling Rosina. It looked like they were almost done. If only she had some spices to add. The Rosina moved. She frowned. Was she just imagining things, or no? Now the stick spearing both fish through floated in the air. Recall the telekinetic part of telepathic telekinetic rings. With a cry, Olivia grabbed it just before whatever force was levitating it tried to yank it into the darkness. It tugged on Olivia, but apparently she was too heavy. She pulled the fish free from its grasp, tossing it to the tree branch and stepping on the stick. She grabbed her bow, having an arrow nocked and aimed in less than 2 seconds. Something growled at her from the shadows. She aimed in its general direction, straight ahead of her, but couldn't see anything in the dark. The water lapped against the trees. Bugs buzzed near Olivia's skin. A bird flew. It growled again. This time, much closer, and to Olivia's right. She whipped around, trying to find something to aim at. Damn, the thing was quiet when it moved. After another beat, it came into the light. Olivia blinked. This wasn't the freckled demon, but probably around his age. Adolescent. Female. Her fur was dusky white, with one pale blue ear and dark wings that were just a shade too dark to be sapphire. She was also much skinnier than the others Olivia had seen, her ribs pressed against her fur. She snarled, showing her yellow teeth, but now Olivia could think. The other demon, she'd had another run-in earlier, had gone after her. This one went after her food. This one also clearly demonstrated being able to use demon magic, but wasn't using it to attack her. Maybe she just wanted to eat. Slowly, Olivia lowered her bow. The demon stopped snarling at her and looked pointedly at the Rosina, still pinned to the branch by her foot. Olivia couldn't talk, couldn't ask her any questions, but that didn't mean she couldn't communicate. She took the stick of Rosina and removed one of the fish, holding it out. It flew from her fingers and into the demon's mouth. In 2 bites, it was gone. Any of you have dogs that have traced me the skull? That. The she-demon licked her chops, then looked expectantly at the second Rosina. Olivia shook her head, holding it closer to her chest. She needed to eat too. The she-demon made a noise like a huff. The Rosina and stick were yanked from Olivia's fingers. She yelled, but the she-demon was too quick, snatching the fish in her jaws and then diving into the inky sky. Bitch, Olivia thought, dropping onto her sleeping roll. She had 1 small jar of preserved berries and a handful of Nugzuki jerky. Her stomach gave a pointed rumble, reminding her that she hadn't eaten since breakfast. She could eat the Nugzuki for dinner and save the rest for tomorrow. The blue-eared she-demon dropped back on her camp, so silent and sudden that Olivia had to strangle a scream before it could escape. Floating around the demon's head were 5 sawbibs, a type of fruit. They're kind of like pears, but also salty. They're an alien fruit that she's got telekinetically floating around. It was hard to tell in the firelight, but 2 of the fist-sized fruit looked a little too yellow from being underripe. Olivia didn't care. She almost cried. The she-demon floated the sawbib to Olivia's lap. She immediately grabbed one and took a big bite, moaning at the sweet, salty taste exploding on her tongue. The blue-eared demon wagged her tail once. As silently as she came, she vanished. That is not the last time we see that one. After that, Olivia and Blue, as she calls that demon, they start doing these little trades where Olivia will set aside some of her meat and Blue will come in, eat the meat, and give her some of her like berries or whatever it is that she found. And that kind of helps them. That's kind of Olivia's first major step there. Yeah, because the demons, the chimera, they're wolves. They're basically carnivores. So they are always going to prefer meat. They're always going to go after that. But like fruit, sava, berries, whatever, they're going to be like, no. But the humans can eat this, so, whatever. Yep, Blue and Freckles. There is another demon that she meets that she nicknames Patch because he's all black, but he has a white patch over his eye. And then after that, they figure out how to like actually communicate to get their real names. Yeah. totally driving to a doctor appointment while listening to this. I hope your doctor appointment goes well. All right. It has been 15 minutes. Let us go to the participants list. And okay, there are 113. You know what? You know what? You know what? I am going to be kind of smart about this. Random number generator. Minimum, maximum, 113. Generate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, you guys are all moving. You figured it out. Tina with the little flag. Is that a Polish flag? I don't even know. That Tina that I just tagged in the chat, you have won a physical copy, which is signed. So you're going to email me at this email address, Christina_Marie@writeme.com. You're going to tell me what name you want it signed out to, and then you're also going to tell me what your mailing address is. Be as detailed as possible with that, especially if you're international, and I suspect you are, given that little flag. Okay, so we've been at this for an hour. We're still going strong, though. Yeah, it's a Polish flag. Yay! I'm not totally, hopeless at geography. Yeah. Okay, so we have enough time. I think I want to do a little bit more of a Q&A. We're going to do it another 15 minutes and then do another giveaway. And then I think I still need to film my TikToks because you guys still want to do cafe latte, right? So I'll probably have to end this then and call it a day. But Charlie Plays is asking, is Citadel going to be for sale in bookshops here in the UK, or do I need to order it from Amazon? I think you're going to need to order it from Amazon or Barnes Noble or Google or somewhere online. It's published through Blackstone Publishing, which is a respectable publishing house, but it is still relatively small and here in the US. So I don't think it's going to be in any UK shops. How did you come up with the older couple in Cafe Latte, Yarn Granny and Vet Husband? So Yarn Granny has, if any of you have seen Hell's Bells by See Ya Later, yeah, you all know it's about the help desk of hell. It's hilarious. You should watch it. She is absolutely incredible. One of the characters is Judy, who's the Southern grandma. And just an absolute badass. She had a trans son, and she's a total ally. And she's just an absolute sweetheart. So a lot of it's kind of modeled after her. That's where the Southern accent came from, the bad Southern accent. And I gave her a yarn shop because I myself do crocheting and knitting. Actually, this is a blanket that I am currently making for a friend of mine. He's getting married in September, and I have his and his fiance's favorite colors that I'm crocheting together into a really nice blanket that's going to be big enough for them to snuggle under. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to, have a crocheted character under there. And then her husband, the vet grandpa, is modeled after my own grandfather, who was a firefighter in the Air Force for 40 years, 40. Was discharged honorably for retirement. The story that they shared is pretty much straight from my family autobiography. Basically, Grandma and Grandpa, they moved to their new house in Missouri, and they're like in their 50s or 60s at this point. So like, okay, we're retired. We're going to take it easy. We do want to do a little bit of antique dealing kind of across the country type of thing, but that's pretty chill and relaxing. So we're just going to take it easy. We're the old retired couple now. So the day after they move in, Grandpa goes into town exploring, getting his bearings, and he goes and finds, of course, the volunteer fire department. So he goes in and introduces himself, thinking, new friends, great. He introduces himself. He's one of those people who, like, you either hate him or you're his best friend within, like, 2 minutes. So of course he pretty much has the entire building needed out of the palm of his hand within 15 minutes. Um, at the end of it, he says, "By the way, boys, I was a firefighter for 40 years. So if it's freaking Armageddon, it's the Ozark Mountains is where they retired to. Um, so which is kind of dry country. So if there was like a big fire or whatever, just give me a call up." And they said, "Oh, you want to be our chief?" So he walks out of there, the chief of the volunteer fire department. And all the way on the drive home, he is sweating because he's like, "What am I going to tell my wife? We swore we were going to take this easy. Being the chief of the fire department is not taking it easy." He gets home. He's the first one home. Grandma's out doing errands or grocery shopping or whatever. So he has even more time to sweat. She finally gets home. Before my grandfather can even open his mouth, my grandmother says, "Al, I know that we said that we were going to take it easy, but I kind of signed up to be recertified for first aid and CPR training. And also, I hear that they're looking for first responders over at the volunteer fire department, and I kind of signed up for that." So they did that for like another 20 years before actually retiring to Arkansas now. So that is where veteran grandpa came from. The yellow hat that he wears is actually you can see, I actually have it. Hold the phone. This was a gift from my grandpa. And you can actually see, this was the fire department that he volunteered at, Pontiac Price Place Fire Rescue, and it has my name on the back. My brother Liam has one too. So that's where veteran grandpa came from. He's pretty much his life story is very similar to my actual grandpa. My grandpa does not have a southern accent like that. I'm using the accent to better, tell the characters apart because I'm the one playing all of them. There's only so much different outfits can go. Real grandpa is not as much of an ally as veteran grandpa is, but we're working on it. Okay. What are some content warnings for Citadel? Excellent question. So Citadel is a hot dumpster fire of sexism, ableism, and a little bit of homophobia on the side. So there's that. The prologue opens with Elias, Olivia's boyfriend, getting killed. So there is violence. There is war. The entire book is for dealing with grief. One of the characters gets torn apart by Chimera. So yeah, those are the big content warnings to bear in mind with Citadel. Planning a book signing tour eventually. Yes, I am. Actually, I do have a few scheduled already. I'm in the Twin Cities area in Minnesota. And a family friend of mine owns an event center. So he's actually got the pleasure of doing my first ever signing over at the Chart House, which is in Bloomington, Eagan area, for those of you who are familiar with that. It's basically a restaurant. It's got a big boat out the side. Someone's calling me. I don't care. And I'm actually going to be doing that with my mom. So it's going to be a double author event. So that's going to be really fun if you're in the area. That's going to be on June 28th. It's a Wednesday, 6 p.m. type of deal. I've got another signing and a reading over at Eat My Words. It's a little bookstore in Minneapolis. I have one August 19th signing at the Barnes Noble on Greenway Lake Commons, also in Minneapolis. There's going to be one in September at Subtext Bookstore. That's in St. Paul. There's going to be an October one at Majors and Quinn, Minneapolis again. And we're still looking for a date for Comma, a bookshop, which is also in Minneapolis. Apparently, when you do book signings and stuff like that, you're supposed to call ahead like 3 or 4 months in advance, not the week the book comes out. So now I know for when the next one comes out. Do you prefer writing on paper or typing? Almost always typing. There are times where I prefer to hand write out ideas as I'm like brainstorming. Okay, here's how the world is going to work. Like with Cafe Latte, there is going to be a book for that. By the way, I just got to finish the accidentally kidnapped / Kingdom of Starlight that I'm doing on Patreon, and then we're going to dive into that. I actually have a bunch of world building ideas and some character ideas in my notebook for that I was doing over the weekend. But in terms of like writing the actual manuscript, laptop every time. And I actually like to use the software Scrivener, which allows you to better mess around with chapters and scenes, and it's just easier to do that. You mentioned once on your Discord that for Blackwing characters, you found names with meanings you like and adjusted the names. What are the original names? Remember? I don't remember. I am sorry. I discard that. Any queer rep in Citadel? You said some homophobia. Yes, there is some queer rep. Olivia's sister, Evelyn, is aromantic, asexual like myself, and she runs into a little bit of aro and ace phobia, both from her family and from the rest of the town, because she's like a 17-year-old girl. Everyone is like, oh, you need to get married and you need to have children. Like that's what it needs to be a woman. Like you're too young, you don't know what you want. What do you mean you don't want kids and stuff like, and that all that bullshit. She's like, I am very adamant. I know exactly what I want. I want to be a nun because nuns get to work on the science and the artifacts, and most importantly, they don't have to get married. So there's a little bit of that. One of Freckles, the demon's parents, is transgender. And both of his parents, he has two dads basically. That's it for book one. I couldn't squeeze any more into it. Olivia is tragically straight, I'm sad to say. But the sequel is going to have quite a bit more queer rep as the story pulls back almost. Like this one, it's like 80-85% from Olivia's point of view, and she's alone for most of the time, running around the forest trying to talk to these demons and fighting monsters who want to eat her. But in the sequel, she's still one of the main characters, but now it's kind of like a Rick Riordan book where there's now like three main characters instead of just one. So that's going to give us a broader scope and a bigger cast to work with. And of course, I'm going to add queer characters to that. Who do you think I am? If you do want more queer rep more immediately, and I totally understand if you do, my Blackwing novella series, Janua is an aromantic pansexual, Antiku is an old gay, Helas is transgender, Akeda is probably ace, but I haven't figured that out yet exactly. There's a non-binary ghost that floats around, and that's going to be fun. And then there's a little bit of queer rep on Accidentally Kidnapped, which is on my Patreon. I'm uploading each chapter about twice a week of the rough draft, so it's going to definitely be heavily revisioned later. But one of the knights is gay. There's another minor character who is non-binary, and I'm likely to add more when I revise and rewrite. Are you doing anything special for episode 100 of Cafe Latte? Tolly Plays, you came late to the party, didn't you? You missed the little sneak peek I gave with a new sword that I bought, and it's actually a real sword because it's actually sharp on the edge. Yes, there will be something special for the 100th episode of Cafe Latte. And there are little knives here for Cyrus. And they're real too, and I really hope I don't cut myself when I'm filming with this. That would be bad. That would be very, very bad. I'm just gonna put that back. Alright, one more question. Where can we get / read Blackwing? That's gonna be on Amazon, Kobo, and Barnes & Noble. They're all ebooks at the moment. I'm gonna turn them physical later. Please don't cut yourself. I also don't want to cut myself. Okay. Platonic love for Cyrus if always. I mean, he's pretty much kind of got that with Jennifer Charles. They're basically siblings at this point. Coat the edge in wax and see how it looks on camera. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. One more question. Does the demon species of Citadel actually have a name of their own? Yes. I went foggy. Sorry. Yes, they do have a name of their own. They are Chimera. And I'm not going to get into why they are called chimera because that is a midpoint spoiler. But yeah, they don't call themselves demons. And once Olivia is finally able to communicate with them, she gets that pretty quickly. So, non-binary rep, LOL. Yep, that's where Jennifer Charles comes in. I think that might be the first major character I've ever written who is non-binary. That's pretty fun. Okay, it is 3 o'clock. Participants, and let's see who we are going to get to win the final book of the day. It's going to be this one. Ah! I hit settings. This is what happens when you try to click something blind. Our winner is Jackson Smith. Congratulations, Jackson Smith. You are going to email me at Christina_Marie@writeme.com. You're going to tell me what name you want me to write the book out to, because I'm going to sign it, and then also what your mailing address is so I can actually mail it to you in a timely manner. I will be sending them out in the mail either possibly today, definitely not tomorrow because I have my day job. It's going to be a 10-hour shift, yay. And then if not tomorrow, then definitely Thursday. So definitely email me today, tomorrow, or Thursday so I can send out your books. You'll likely get it in the next couple of weeks. And then this weekend, I'm helping my brother move out of Milwaukee. All right. Thank you, everyone, for, holy shit, this live stream was way more populous than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have maybe like 10. Shao Tucker. I don't know who Shao Tucker is. I'm sorry. Are you going to have any other giveaways? Yes, there are 40 books cluttering up my closet. Dear God, I'm definitely going to be having another giveaway sometime soon. So yeah, keep your eyes out for that. I do have a mailing list that I tend to be pretty good about letting you all know whenever there's a giveaway going on. So on my website, cmalanchi.com, there's like 8 different ways that you can sign up for my newsletter. So you can do that. I also tend to let you all know on TikTok, but you all almost certainly follow me on TikTok, so you know that already. Citadel is out now. You should be able to find it in bookstores, definitely on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It's on Google. It's on Books A Million. It's everywhere. Blackwing Book 5, which is called The Slain Princess, is going to come out next month. I'm going to have a cover for reveal for you guys either this week or next week. What else? Accidentally Kidnapped. If you're a patron of my Patreon, you should know I have resumed that. We're about 2/3 of the way through. I'm going to upload 2 chapters a week onto that. For those of you who don't know, there was this TikTok series, a mini series that I did that was based on a Tumblr prompt where the Dark Lord ends up adopting the princess that was sent to assassinate him. And it's really fun, but also kind of dark. And then after that, I'm going to be writing the Cafe Latte book, which is going to be basically a dark AU of the current Cafe Latte series that I have going on. And when I say dark, I mean, like on a scale of 1 to Game of Thrones, we're at about a 6. So just a heads up, the regular Cafe Latte TikTok is about a 2 to a 3. So I followed you because of Accidentally Kidnapped. Hey, Beanie Beans, you get it. Excellent. All right, and that's pretty much it. So thank you all so much. Have a blessed day. Try to enjoy the weather. If you're in the Twin Cities area like me, don't melt and hydrate, please. It's 90 degrees outside. Bye, lovelies.